Gunite! No! Alawa! Gunite!
Can't help but groove along.
It's so good.
Hello, welcome back to the Sith And Scoundrel Podcast with your host, Phil and Matt. Welcome to episode 1. If you haven't watched last week's episode, which is then going to be a bit confusing, going, well, it's episode 1, what happened before? Episode 0 was our lovely introduction we did pre-recorded last week. This is, of course, our first live show, so no pressure. Should be good fun. But, how are you doing, my good friend?
Still love that intro, man. I literally seconds before we went live, and you were just like, "Oh, fix the intro." You just made it better. Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. As we were chatting about previously, just now, kind of backstage, I guess. I finished Clone Wars. Very, very, very impressed with it. Aside from that, yeah, doing all right, my man. How are you?
Yeah, not doing too bad. I've been busy. So as I was loading up, the reason why I saw you in early was the fact that I was finishing up watching Andor because I was like, I need to get these fresh in my mind. Despite the fact this is my 5th watch through, something like that. Because I've done my original reviews, I've done the original watch through, watching it still with the old man. Now watch it with you. I'm like, right, let's just get my mind set. But no, it's been good, and I'm very interested. So this is, of course, something that. One of the reasons why we're interested to do this show is the fact that there's bits of Star Wars that you haven't seen yet that I obviously have seen. We want to talk about how you thought about it, what I've thought about it, and kind of bounce back and forth. Clone Wars was obviously actually the big one. We were talking a couple of years back. You hadn't watched it. You started watching it, weren't that into it. It's like the meme I sent you on Friday or whatever it was, which was someone digging towards giving up literally with more. Like, this is exactly what happened with you. It's like, it's just childish. There's no badass.
Exactly
oh, wait.
How Savage found him as well.
I know. Oh, but it's worth the watch, though. So by the time you get there. Evening, Emery. Good to see you in the chat there. Someone I know who has so it's always good.
One person.
Hey, it's better than nothing. I'll take it. They're watching episode 0 before we came on.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I had put the clip on TikTok about the scrubs in Star Wars because I just found it too funny not to.
Oh my god! I've just been sending people completely random robot chicken scenes today. It reminded me. I don't think someone just sent me one of those memes where it got like the big book, like Lord of the Rings, and then Lord of the Rings with Legolas and an AK-47.
Yeah.
It was Star Wars, but Star Wars if Anakin had adequate therapy. And, it's like, I blame Bad Bay, and I was starting the robot chicken. I was like, like this. So true. Oh but god, ladies and bots.
Fair though, it's kind of funny though. Actually, what we were talking about last week. Obviously, you watching Clone Wars, and that actually triggered memory talking about Palpatine. How you're saying, obviously, in Clone Wars, the way he's colored, how you can see it,
the animation. No one knows he's sus.
Yeah, and I'm reading the High Republic at the moment. I've done my complete deep dive on that. I'm going through absolutely everything. At the moment, there's only a couple of pieces I need to finish up before I'm completely caught up, both on Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Oh,
and Phase 2 is set before Phase 1. So the whole point of the High Republic is set at the height of their Jedi. And to be fair, someone I know you're not a huge fan of the Jedi, so you're not going to be too fussed about spoilers at the moment or the rest of it. I get if you're
I probably won't go that far back at any point soon. So
but there's a creature in the High Republic known as the Leveler. Now, the Leveler feeds off of the Force, and it literally sucks the Force energy out of Force-sensitive beings, so it kills Jedi. It is a malevolent, evil beast. And the problem I got, and I worked this out, is showing the hubris of the Jedi early. Is the fact that so Phase 2, step before Phase 1, because they're doing it as Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. Phase 3 is a sequel. Phase 1 is the middle. Phase 2 is the prequel. So it kind of gives you that structure.
No one in Star Wars can count.
Yeah. So exactly. So the Leveler has appeared in Phase 2, which is set before Phase 1. Phase 1, they don't know how to deal with it. They've faced it before. what you have is Yoda
Right.
kind of brushing it under the carpet because they don't want people knowing about this, and it's showing the hubris of the Jedi.
It's the denial arc. It's the good.
Yeah.
It's the Clone Wars denial arc. He found the ship. What does it do? I don't know.
Yeah, but
I
it's
wish.
showing the hubris of the Jedi. That's it's one of those things of excellent. So that's a very random note that I need to appear on later. That's going to be another whole spiel. Yes, so it's showing the hubris of the Jedi. It's what I'm finding absolutely fascinating. And it's going into it's then one of the reasons why I'm interested to talk to you about Andor, because you're going into something where there is no Force, there is no Jedi, there are no Sith, there's just people.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a good chat about that one. I think I have thoughts. It's cool, man. I also finished Tales of the Jedi as well. Speaking of someone that doesn't like Jedi, I think I messaged you being like, that Sith who squares off with Ahsoka is the coolest looking Sith I've ever seen in my life. He's almost got that Casey Jones from Turtles mask. Enjoyed that a lot. I didn't realize that Dooku turned like that soon compared to like Phantom Menace and stuff. That was very fun. I liked that. I like that a lot. But yeah, that Sith, he just looks like Casey Jones. I was like, this is the coolest like Sith I've ever seen.
He is badass. It's to be fair, I need to watch. I have so much Visions Volume 2. We get into that, but along with Visions Volume 1, Tales of the Jedi also dropped last year, and I'm really interested. They're doing more. And I'm really interested in who they do next. But Dooku was the one I was more fascinated. Ahsoka's story, because of the Ahsoka book, especially where they've messed with it slightly when it comes to the canon, when it comes to the Tales of the Jedi and Clone Wars Season 7. But E.K. Johnson's basically whole premise is it's the story from Ahsoka's point of view rather than the story being told as fact. Which I get. So it's a case of, look, it's what you're seeing on the screen is what happened. The book is kind of her recollection of it all. So it's kind of from her point of view. So I can see where they're coming from. But Dooku, on the other hand, as I said, you've got the book Jedi Lost. Dooku Jedi Lost, the audiobook, which is fantastic. You've then got the Clone Wars. You've got episode 2, episode 3. So you've got the tail end of his journey. You've got the beginning. The Tales of the Jedi set slap bang right in the middle of that, and it shows that final tipping point.
That's what really surprised me when it was kind of at the Rock and Yaddle was there and stuff, and he was just like, not after Qui-Gon died. And I was like, oh, this is Phantom Menace. This is like really soon. I thought he'd been Sith for longer. Also, that's what happened to Yaddle. I was like, oh, okay. Yes. I still wanted to be Grogu's mother, but there we go.
To be fair, in Phase 2 of the High Republic, she has a Padawan who is, and I say this with all due care and respect because I am on the spectrum myself, but the Padawan is on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And basically Yaddle is just fed up of her crap because all she does is just throw people around because she doesn't understand how the world works. She goes, this person is evil. This person is hurting my friends. So I don't have a lightsaber. What I can do is just throw them. And Yaddle basically has to babysit her and teach her about it. And actually she sees things that no child should see. And you see the world from a different point. It's harrowing. Like the Night of Sorrow is harrowing. But you do see more of Yaddle, and it's what I like is that she speaks normally. So Yoda is still this mystery of why does he speak how he speaks?
I've had this chat recently about whether Yoda or Grogu is going to speak normally, and I'm adamant Grogu's going to speak normally. I'm completely adamant. I'm just like, if a baby is born in France and is raised by French parents, it speaks French because it mimics the sounds around it. Exactly. So Grogu will mimic Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and hopefully a bit of Jack Black. That'd be amazing. Grogu start singing Peaches, man. That'd be cool. It did confuse me when Yaddle was talking, which I was hoping it would be a species thing. But now I don't know why Yoda has to speak in riddles all the time, and it's confused me a little bit. I don't know
apart from episode 2, when he tells them to set the gunship down, which is entirely forwards.
It's just like, hang on. You could talk normally the whole time.
And then he goes, oh, wait a second. Around the survivors of perimeter mech. Crap. This is now it's supposed to be talking.
I'm just doing this to confuse all of you.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, that was a bit weird. If you do find out why.
I
In the
don't
Republic,
I will tell you if we do. I don't think we will, and I don't know. I think there's still a lot of mystery surrounding Yoda and his species. But the fact you can still have Yaddle and Grogu, you can have other members of his species and still not know is still a good thing for me in Star Wars. As much as I like knowing all, mystery is still a good thing. It's why we've both been into 40k for a long, long time. The Heresy was this kind of big event that no one knew much about until they started doing the books. And they went, oh, we can't just do like a series of 10. This has now turned into a series of 100 plus with all the novellas and audios and all the rest of it goes along with it. It's insane, but they do the complete deep dive. With Star Wars, you kind of get that, but there's still that sense of mystery. And even with, to draw the comparison to the Heresy, there's still bits that people don't know about. There's still bits of mystery that are going on. You've still got like, obviously, you now know more about where the Grey Knights come from, for example. But that was a mystery for a long, long time. They're filling in blanks, but also they're still leaving pieces out, which is that's all about good storytelling. It leaves you things to discuss.
Yeah, I like my answers.
Yeah,
we
so
had
do I.
this conversation, didn't we, about the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, which is why I quite like my High Republic as well. Like, going, cool, this is all new stuff, but I like to know about the background. I like to know the history. It's why I have read and listened to so many books over the years.
Oh, exactly. So before we dive into Andor,
Yes.
I've been saving, before I take anything out of packages, the smuggler's crate, because I wanted to show and tell with you.
Indeed.
So it was made for there's like a subscription box, like Loot Box or something, and we're not sponsored by them in any way. It's probably a good thing. It was just like, oh yeah, there's 20% off and 2 free items. So I went Jedi Knight level, Jedi Master level, I should say, for the bigger box. It's 32 quid. I feel like I got ripped off. I feel like I got really ripped off by this.
It won't be any worse than my Star Wars Celebration 2017 box.
All right, okay. This cost me 32 quid. Let's find out, right?
Yep.
Got a tote bag.
Fair.
That's coming relatively useful, to be honest, to a point. It didn't come in the tote bag. Look, I left it in packaging and everything, so I can open it with you. And you can see how badly I got ripped off.
Yep.
It was like a it's not even nice hat. There's a hat.
Oh,
It's not even a particularly nice hat.
that is quality.
It's not really, mate, to be honest. And there's a passport holder and a luggage tag.
Oh.
Oh no, these are cool. There's like 3 cool bits I really like. There's a Lego Cad Bane.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool.
Yep.
There's a Lego Cal Kestis, which I didn't know they made.
Nope. Neither did I.
With a little BD droid.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. There's this roller toy. A friend of mine got me a set of these from the Netherlands. I don't know what it is. I put it for the first time. There's a little golden Yoda doohickey.
Nice.
It doesn't fall over, which is quite fun. But this is the best bit, right? I didn't know this existed. It's a retro Bo-Katan.
Yeah, the retro series is so cool.
I thought it was amazing. I was like, okay, I like both. That's very cool. So, not worth $32 quid. It gets funny. There's a Yoda keyring. Look at that. Ooh. What's
so
that?
I've actually got my retro Vader, but it's the prototype version, so it's like all the different colours.
Does that have a telescopic lightsaber? Oh, yes. I was in Forbidden Planet in London. I forgot to send you a picture of the prototype Luke pilot.
Yes, I've seen that. I want it.
There's a bunch of loose stickers, which are kind of weird. It gets stranger. They ran out of ideas. Do you want a Force Awakens sticker book? That's from like a power shop. And then just in the bottom of it, like, here's an 8x10. And it turned out to me, like, I spent 32 quid on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to subscribe to it.
So the Celebration box
Go on.
was 50 plus postage.
Okay, right.
So I think it might have been close to 75 by the time you got it into the UK. So it did come with a really cool t-shirt and a mug.
See, no t-shirt or mugs, no. There's Bo-Katan. There's something I'd like to wear, but not something I can.
You're one of the 2%.
I am one of the 2%. What percentage did Carrie Fisher have? 96. There we go.
There we go. So had those are the two good items.
Yeah.
It then came with a build your own like paper Death Star.
I mean, that's kind of cool, dude. Was it like one of the IKEA labs?
No, £3 shop style.
Oh no!
Yep, it gets worse because the good quality crappy item was a Panda Bobber oven mitt. So when he gets his arm chopped off, you then have basically his 7 arms and oven glove. And you get an inflatable Death Star beach ball.
Oh, that's fun, man. Like, I live next to the beach. I would have loved that beach ball. I'm going to leave this hat on for duration.
You can have mine, my friend, because I've still got it, still it's packaging.
Go down the beach and play with an inflatable, like, Death Star and my Darksaber. We'll have a great time.
This Death Star's fully operational, and I can fire it across hyperspace speeds. It's fine.
No, the Lego, like, I didn't know there was a Lego Cal Kestis. He's very cool. And Cat Bane's nice, but I'm not subscribing to it. Like, it turned up, I was well disappointed. Yeah. I feel like a trucker in this hat.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's not the hat that really sells it. It's the combination with the shirt.
It's down and down, good buddy. 10-4.
Oh dear. I mean, to be fair, something that I get why these companies do it, but because they got to shift some of the crap. But you'd like them to put some nicer quality things in there as well. I mean,
if the quality was good, I probably would have no problem subscribing to it. But
yeah.
Like the Bo-Katan's cool, but they were just like, 50% off. There's going to be 60 quid worth of stuff in this. And I think the most expensive thing in it is that Bo-Katan, which I probably could buy for like 8 quid.
Yeah.
But it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, 50% of is here is it at cost, if not slightly more than cost, basically.
What like a sticker book that got me. I was like, what kind of year 5 stationery I ended up with at this point?
I got better stuff for free as celebration. I mean, for example, like literally on my desk here happens to be my May the 40th be with you, which is my 40th anniversary patch. For the Return of the Jedi. So that was something that someone made up. I got that for free because someone gave it to me along with a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, I've also got my Blue Harvest patch as well, which I absolutely adore. That one was from the Celebration store. That was like 10 quid, but completely worth it.
Cover, which is well helpful post Brexit. I'm not going anywhere in a hurry, am I?
No. I mean, to be fair, like, you could just take the sticker book. I'm not condoning this in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying you could do this by going around Bournemouth and just go dink, 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 just kind of randomly placing the stickers just here and there.
I could do, and I might do. I don't know. It'd be a bit like Batman, wouldn't it? Like in the third one, where they're drawing the bat symbol and everything to guide people around. Maybe people follow the Jedi, they'll end up somewhere cool.
I mean, to be fair, bits of Andor were shot in and around Dorset and Hampshire and things, so it kind of then does tie neatly into...
Oh, I spent the whole time going, the volume's amazing.
The
volume is so good.
They use the volume for parts of it, but here's the rub of the green for it being shot in Britain rather than being shot in the US. Everything in the US was done primarily on the volume. Everything shot in Britain was predominantly done on location, which is why I'm really excited for Acolyte, because A, it's High Republic, and B, it's shot in Britain. So everything is done on location.
Say Bristol, that makes sense.
They were down there at one point, yes.
Oh, were they actually? Wow. That's well good. Okay.
It's like West Country Jedi.
Delightful link, Phil, to move on to Andor.
Indeed.
That was awesome, man.
You're right. So, Andor came out last year. Cracking show. And of course, I've seen it all. Yeah. I've seen it all. I'm looking forward to hearing what you thought about these first 3 episodes. But before we get into the episodes themselves, obviously, this is the first time you're watching it through, but what were your thoughts primarily going into the show? Like, I know the difficulty with a show like Andor is you know where the character goes, so it's kind of hard to then go, okay, well, if I know where they're going to end up, where's the sense of jeopardy? But
this is it, man. So, I used to read a lot of Wolverine, like a lot of Wolverine comics when I was younger, and there was one they did the death of Wolverine in this comic book. And someone wrote a letter in to the weekly, just kind of saying, look, why have you done this? There's no danger or peril at any point now in the rest of the time you're publishing these comic books. Because we know when and where and how he dies. So, and it wasn't even like the recent death of Wolverine, it was like the old one in the 90s. And it was a really valid point, and they kind of addressed it in the typical Marvel way, and I didn't understand thanks of kid. But they were just like, oh, well, this is just one possible way he could die. This isn't how he dies, sort of thing. So they're like, oh, multiverse. And do that with it. So Andor was kind of a hard sell. Like, when it first came out, everyone was telling me how incredible it is. I saw loads of memes on Facebook, and everyone was like, Andor's amazing, Andor's amazing. And I just went, it's difficult. It was a really hard sell for me to go in to watch it, because I went, there's no danger. Really, any precarious situation he ends up in, I know he's going to survive. So I'm taking this off now. I didn't have that. I was really uncomfortable. Any precarious situation he ended up in, I knew he was going to survive.
Yeah.
So it was a hard sell. So I was wrong. Like that series is amazing. But preliminary going into it, I just went, you know what? I know I didn't feel particularly attached with him after Rogue One.
Yeah.
At all. I didn't feel too like, oh, Andor's the man after Rogue One or anything. I just kind of thought, he's okay. K2SO was better. And Shira and Baze were better than them. Out of all the cast in Rogue One, I didn't feel like Andor was the strongest. So, yeah, initially it was a really hard show. It was a character I kind of found a bit boring the first time round. Combined with the fact I know when, where, and how he dies.
Yeah.
And that his sidekick was more entertaining than he was, didn't really drive me to want to watch the show.
Yeah. So a lot of people who I spoke to when it was coming out, basically like, I kind of forgot this was going to be a thing, because I kind of, they felt he was a little bit forgettable from Rogue One. Because Rogue One, as you say, we've got Chirrut and Baze, who are amazing. You've got Jyn Erso, who is the primary focus of it all, and it was kind of like the middle ground between being that primary focus and being the catalyst. There's a lot of different layers to his where he stacks, but he doesn't take top billing until basically right at the end, when him and Jyn are on the beach, and it's kind of okay, we've done our part, and unlike Episode 9, they ended it perfectly without having a kiss or anything stupid to mess it all up. They kind of just left it alone as it should be.
Which I loved as an ending, by the way.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
Very much like the ending of Pacific Rim, where they're on top of the capsule in the water, and they could have had a kiss moment, and they didn't. And it's like, hey, look, guys, platonic relationships exist.
Exactly.
Even in the fight.
Exactly. So
very cool.
The one sell I had going into this was Tony Gilroy. Now, Tony Gilroy did was on the writing staff with Gareth Edwards, the directorial for the main Rogue One film, but he came back to do the reshoots, where they kind of changed bits of the film. Tony Gilroy is a fantastic writer. I'm like, okay, so if he can take a boring, not a boring character, that's the wrong word actually. Cassian I always found interesting, but it didn't capture my imagination. If you might take a character like that and make him more, okay, I'm interested to see where it goes. And when they first dropped it, they went, we're going to do 2 episodes for the first week. They then pushed it back by 2 weeks, but you're getting the first 3. And these first three, I do feel you do need to kind of watch back to back to back. If you don't, I think you're not going to get the full sell, which is why when we were speaking about watching it, I said, right, do the first three. It kind of is an arc in of itself within the whole story, but it gets you going. And I knew if you'd watched the first one or first two, you might not have had the full experience. Whereas the first three, you do get that complete first arc.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's not that I didn't enjoy it. There were elements that I really, really, really enjoyed. And this pulls into the thing about Solo is I think Star Wars is at its best when there's little to no Jedi around. I like the idea of Jedi are really rare to see, and you shouldn't see them in every project we put out. Because at the point in the timeline, Jedi are really rare.
Yeah, this is where I get my fix from the High Republic, because that's what it's supposed to be about. Whereas this isn't. This is supposed to be, they are vilified, they are eradicated from history. It's just people. So this, and that's what this needs to be.
Yeah. And that's one thing I really liked about it. It's actually one of the things I kind of really liked about Kenobi as well. And I know we're going to do a Kenobi retrospect show, but the fact it didn't ignite the lightsaber till like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Gave me like Star Wars, like ground level. This is what it's like to live in this galaxy.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed, and I liked that retrospective on Cassian, on Andor. I liked the whole kind of street level stuff. I liked what does life look like, not in Coruscant or Tatooine,
yeah,
which are like the two places that everything seems to happen always. I kind of really liked the fashion. The costume designers were incredible. And I was looking like Cassian's jacket with a hood on. I was like, I want it. Yeah. That's a really cool jacket. And it's stuff like the thing at the start of the first episode that is basically that gentleman's club.
Yeah.
Which I thought was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is what X do. I liked, I enjoyed it. There are some parts which I felt a bit up and downy, but for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the aesthetic, especially liked the aesthetic. I like the fashion choices. I thought the police or the inspector for the space police was amazing.
Yeah,
when he's just like, they died, and like he being a really clearly brilliant space detective was just like, this is what happened. Leave it.
Yeah,
I liked him. He was good. Wish he came back and did go off to like some sort of Imperial review meeting. If he had to go to the meeting of the teams or something, I don't know.
Yeah. So, of course, so the opening episode for me also features one of my favorite nerdy moments in Star Wars is when it pops up saying 5 BBY. That is the very first canonical appearance of BBY or ABY being used. Like, it's been used as a nomenclature for years and decades, but it's never actually been in canon until now. So that was one of the coolest little... It's so small you'd miss it if you didn't notice it, but once you notice it's like a really cool little bit. So when it says 5 BBY, it gives you the timeline, because the way this is set up, it's 2 series and then it's done. Series 1 is set 5 BBY. Series 2 is 4 through to 1. So it's kind of, it gives you literally 4 years in one season. So that's kind of how this is going to roll.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see how they progress the story. But yeah, it opens up, and of course you have him going into the Gentleman's Club, getting into an altercation with the local law enforcement, because they're asking questions about his sister.
Oh no, I like the whole kind of, all right, your sister.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Oh, the sister. I got it. He's like, no, really. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And of course, so Canary is not something that I knew anything about. It's something new for the show. And it sets up Cassian nicely, because when you have him out in the street, he has the altercation. He's getting shaken down. I love the line of, I have 300 credits in my pocket. Really? What a coincidence. That's the exact number of credits it takes to pay the fine. And he, of course, bruises his way out of it, and he accidentally kills one of the cops. And it's the first time Cassian's ever killed someone. And you see the look in his face of, I have a choice to make here. Either I silence the other and I get away, or I don't know what the alternative is. And he makes his choice. And it sets the character up to be that kind of, when we first meet him in Rogue One, you see him just kill someone because they can't get away. Like, it sets him up to be that more kind of callous, more objective kind of point of view.
And it all happened to you, man. He used to be cool.
And of course, then it does trigger the whole investigation. You have Cyril, who, I mean, Cyril, I can't.
No, is his name Cyril, the deputy inspector?
Yeah, his name's Cyril.
Man, like, it's one of the things that really detached me in season 1 was you've got all of these names like Cassian Andor and Bix and all this, and then just in the middle of it you got Tim. And I was like, right, everyone else has these really cool names, and in the middle of it you have Tim.
But that's just Tim's an arse, though.
But even on the subtitles on Disney Plus, because Tim would be ridiculous, so it's spelled with a double M. And I was like, really? Oh, that's unnecessary. His name's Tim.
Yep.
So, Tim and Bix. I just felt like really lazy, kind of. You look through the Star Wars canon, and then you've got all these names, and you've got like Han, and you got like Luke and Ben and Tim.
I mean, human beings have our way of naming things, okay? We're late.
You've got Lando and Han and Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You look, but to be fair, you don't have to get too attached to Tim. It's fine.
But like, it just felt really deflating for me. You've got all these like really like Star Wars spacey names. And
then one's a guy named Tim.
I genuinely sat there and went, Tim, are you serious?
It's not quite Monty Python in terms of they call me Tim. It's not quite on that level, but I know the feeling.
It just felt very grounding. It's such an atmospheric series, and it's very very atmospheric. It's very draws you in.
Yeah,
and it's a really good like escapism piece because the sex, everything is fantastic. And personally, for me, I found whenever they said Tim, it kind of broke the escapism and it broke the fantasy a bit for me because I found it really funny.
Well,
and that element of escapism, I was like, Tim, really?
Yeah, I mean,
sorry if you call Tim and you see this. I have nothing against the name Tim. Just if you're in space, maybe I do.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So if anyone's watching this in the far future who goes to space, your name is Tim. Just change it so Matt isn't mad at you. It's fine. Just like
I'm probably dead by the time you see this. I'm probably not alive, so don't let it bother you too much, Space Tim. Future Space Tim. Yet somehow in the past, Tim. Sci-fi Tim.
Go to a galaxy far, far away. It's just how this works.
Space Tim.
Space Tim.
Would have been better than just Tim with a double M. Bix and Space Tim.
Yeah.
It could have got a Y in it instead of an I, and it could have been like time.
Yes.
No, it's a herb. Oh no.
It is a herb.
Yeah, but
that's THYME. So that's
or tin. TYN. There, that works. Bix and tin. Oh, that sounds like biscuit tin. Okay, maybe just stay away from like that name and call him something else. But yeah, I've got a real problem with it just because it kept breaking my immersion in the episodes.
But as I say, you meet the deputy inspector. You meet Cyril, who is this kind of very Cyril. Very
his way.
Yeah. Like he's very. It's like what I love though is the inspector looks up and goes, "Have you altered your uniform?" He's like,
"Yes,
I may have had it lightly tailored."
Yes, that was interesting to me. I really liked the police stuff in it. I really liked the space police. I thought they were very good. It was nice to see enforcement that wasn't Imperial, like stormtroopers or the scout troopers. Obviously, you see like the patrol troopers and Solo and stuff, but they're still visually in the white armor. Did so with Cyril. I can't take him seriously now. I did feel like Cyril wanted his uniform to look more like an Imperial officer. Because
Well,
the fit on it.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, as you get to know the character, as you see from these first 3 episodes, he likes to present himself more than what he is, above his station. He likes to think that he respects authority, and he meets someone of equal enthusiasm who actually backs it up. I can't remember the name of the guy's name, the Scottish guy.
Scottish dude, he was good.
Yeah. Now he then really believes in this and really stands behind it. And I love his speech about, it would be criminal basically to not do anything, which the director has just gone, well, look, we don't need a parade for them, but give them a nice death because they were in a part of the city that we're not supposed to have, and an expensive one they're not supposed to be able to afford. So let's kind of move them away from this. Let's just give them a better death, and you're going to seal it, and you're going to leave it. We got an inspection coming up. I don't want to hear the end any more of this. It is done because it's going to look bad on us. And it's that complacency. It's these little bits here and there that obviously bring down regimes. It's something that obviously this is comparatively been used over the years to Nazi Germany, where you talk about the Gestapo, you've got the SS, you've got the different branches, and it was all taken down from the inside by the resistance and by those internal spies and by people who were just complacent. I mean, things went wrong a lot of the time, and where you get this in Andor is you get an officer who is not bad at his job. He just doesn't want to do things above his pay grade. Whereas Cyril is more very much, right, this is how it should be done. And then he gets into the real world, and it kind of then morphs and flips into
and herein lies forgetting the Tim thing because it's ridiculous. The first real problem with, I feel like, the first arc is one really glaring thing for me, which is I grew up in a police family. I know a lot of police officers and have known a lot of police officers in my time. I've met a few Cyrils in my time. I've met some.
Yes.
The chief inspector, the Cyril's deputy inspector, he's sensing that he is great at his job. He deduces the entire situation. He clues down exactly what happened. Exactly as you said, they're in an area they couldn't afford to be in. They weren't supposed to be, and they picked a fight with the wrong person. Leave it, because we don't need this heat on us. We have an Imperial inspection.
Yeah.
Now, Cyril is so by the book, but he's also a deputy, is that I kind of feel like going against his superior's instruction and command, it feels out of character from what I've seen of Cyril. Someone who cares enough to get his uniform tailored, someone who cares enough to want to do the right thing by the book, for his superior officer to go, this is what happened, and this will bring the department into disrepute if it gets out, so this is how you deal with it. I've now got to go to this meeting to try and keep the Empire off our planet because, I think I really like, they call them the Republic. I think we need to keep the Republic off, which I really liked as well, by the way. They're not the Empire, they're not Imperial, we need to keep the Republic off. Well, that was excellent. And then it felt really out of character that he was just like, I'm not going to do what my superior officer said. I think I know better.
Yeah,
and
so
it was jarring.
Yeah, so his point is very much more, although he's by the book, the actual Empire itself, the actual safety and the actual code is above that. But you'll see that more as the series goes on, and you'll understand a little bit more why it's not so out of character. However, those first 3 episodes, I can definitely see why it would be. For me, I cannot stand them as a character. And as we go through the series, you'll find out why I can't stand them as a character. And in these first 3 episodes, it is partly to do with that. It's partly the whole, well, if he was so... There's actually a clone in the Umbaran arc, which is my favorite arc of Clone Wars, called Dogma. Dogma is so regimented and so strict that even in the face of a Jedi who is very blatantly screwing things up, he can't go against him. Cyril kind of cracks a little bit and goes, well, which comes first, the job or the actual meaning behind the job? And instead of following logic he kind of goes down the rabbit hole, which is why when you get to Ferrix, he looks like a sheep in headlights or deer in headlights. He's very much like, wait, hang on a second.
I like that.
The actual reality sets in.
I liked it, and when it all goes wrong and everyone gets blown up and stuff, I liked that and it just felt really, I don't know, I just didn't gel that much with his motives. Like, I just sat there going, if he cares that much to get his uniform tailored, and like, I didn't mind that he got his uniform tailored, that wasn't the point. I was just like,
in fact, it lends itself more to him as a character to be that way.
He looks more like an Imperial officer, like the cut on it compared to everyone else. He looks more like, which I get. I understood that. I just felt like for someone that cares enough to tailor his outfit to be by the book, wouldn't engage in that level of subordination. Also, his decisions to lead him to get all those other space police killed in the third episode, I was just like, you've just made it worse. You're meant to be a deputy inspector, which means you have experience on the force. And it's almost like by the time the plan gets set in motion, he just changes from being this by-the-book, tailored deputy inspector to being a bit of a maverick and a bit of a loose cannon, and I'm going to charge off with these guys.
Yeah, he's out of his depth and it goes too far. And like with a lot of situations in life, we've all done it as kids. At some point in your life, you've done something you know you probably shouldn't, and you've got off with people doing something stupid. You're gonna get in trouble. And by the time you actually get there, you've realized, hang on a second, I've taken this step too far. You know what's coming.
I hope he loses
you make the choice to go forward anyway.
If I was his inspector, I'd fire him the moment I found out what would happen, because that's gross misconduct. I don't know if they have space disciplinaries, but that from the workplace perspective, that's gross misconduct. You've gone against my instruction, and you've got your colleagues injured with your decision. Well, this is gross misconduct.
Yeah, I mean, you're jumping ahead a little bit in terms of the story, but what you...
is he going to get a galactic P-45?
You're going to see how it plays out in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Also, it really goes down. So at the moment, when I was watching it for the first time, I was in that same boat. And by the time you watch it more, you'll then understand probably why you'll probably actually agree with me for why I don't like the character Cyril. I think he's
probably you've got a good view on these archetypes. You've got, obviously, you and yourself, you've got a good understanding of the character archetypes. So I've got no doubt that I don't like the guy already.
Yeah.
You won't like me when I'm angry. I don't like you already.
Yeah, pretty much. But you'll get there on that. But Cyril for me in these first 3 episodes is very much, he is the antagonist, but he's not the primary antagonist, because on the other side you then have Luthen. Now, Luthen obviously played by a wonderful actor in Sith And Scoundrel, who...
I knew it was a Skarsgård. Is he the same one who played Eric Selvig, or is he the brother?
Yeah.
He is Selvig.
He is Selvig. He also plays the Baron in Dune.
He was amazing. I liked him.
I can't wait for Dune.
The other point I just want to touch on before we talk about him, Luthen, he's got a cool name. See? Let's decide down on Uncle Tim. I felt the stuff with Cyril, it was very difficult to dislike him, because they made Andor just a really scummy human being.
Yep.
And it was really, honestly, for someone in Rogue One, that was forgettable and very boring. And I think when Andor was announced years ago, you and I were talking, and I was like, really? Like, I'm all down for more K2SO, but seriously? So I was interested to learn more about him. And that first episode where he's walking around and talking to people, I was like, you're just really scummy. It's just like, you owe everyone money. You're interfering in Vix's relationship. You're being super cool. You're stealing people's ships.
It's the light.
That Markadillo I didn't mind.
Yeah.
That was fine. But I found it very hard to like him.
He's like Han without the charisma.
Because he has no charisma. He was really boring in Road One. But it's not even properly like Han. I just felt like...
Well, the line that makes it feel like Han is that you're going to get into a situation you can't talk your way out of, which Han does. But Cassian's a different breed. He's so self-centered, but in a way that's more. He has a goal. He has an end game of finding his sister, which I will talk to you obviously about the flashbacks in a bit, because Marva's one of the best characters of the show by far. And again, has an awesome name, Marva, much better than also the droid B2 Evo. B2
The
Evo
droid was
awesome.
very cool. I liked the design on the droid a lot, and I felt
Celebration they wheeled it like he literally drove out and was like talking and moving his head around and stuff like this is amazing.
That's great. The way the head bowed, even the smallest. I liked the droid a lot. I'm a fan of that droid. I'm a fan of lots of droids. That one I liked. I liked his tank treads and stuff. But I just found it really hard to like root for Andor because everyone knows that person who owes everyone money, interferes in like Bix has that new relationship with that guy that works for her, whatever, Tim. That guy. Tim. I ranted about him so much I forgot that it was him. He has that like newish relationship with Tim, and he goes in and like stirs things up between the man. And when he leaves, Tim's like, "What are you doing? You're always bringing trouble around here." He's like, "Oh, she's enough trouble for the both of us," and walks off. And I was like, it was really hard to like Andor as a character, which made it really difficult to dislike Cyril too much, because I was just like, you know what? He's got a great coat, but he's being so scummy. And like that guy is just like, you can't borrow the ship anymore because, I'm going to get in trouble. And he's like, oh, just let me take it one more time. And he's just like, dude, I'm going to lose my job. Yeah. And I don't know. I didn't find Andor particularly likable.
No, but that's one of the great things about the show. That'll pick up as it goes along. I
hope so, because right now he's just super scummy, man. And like, not in like a fun scoundrel.
The difference between this and how it feels Star Wars differently to other shows is the best way I can describe Andor to anyone who hasn't seen it is especially if you live in the UK, you'll know this, but British TV drama. It's written like it's not quite Holby kind of vibes, but it's that British, like BBC One late night crime drama. That's basically how this is written.
Man, I felt like it's just like scummy man owes all his mates money and keeps borrowing this guy's car, his like work car.
Yeah.
And doesn't say why, and doesn't tell anyone why he's doing any of this stuff.
No, but it's what I like.
And then he wins the lottery.
It's like I can't remember the name of the character's name, but it's his friend who basically is like, where were you last night?
The dude who's working in the mines.
Yeah, and he basically just
not Nostro,
something like that. But he just says to him like, right, I need you to lie for me. Basically, he goes, no, you didn't do this last night when you went to go see Marva. You didn't go home, fell asleep. You said you went out looking for me. You couldn't find me. You then found me at the hotel. We went back to your place, had a few drinks, and we sourced everything out. He goes, you didn't like my choice of drink? You've come to apologize, accept your apology. Because that's what a good friend is. Basically, he's that friend. We all have that friend, as you say. And to be fair, I've been that friend before. I know I have. But I've made my amends with those people. I'm not the cleanest person in history in that regard. Hopefully people learn from mistakes. I know I certainly have. But we all have that one friend who, no matter what you do, will pick you up, but they'll still call you on it. They'll still make you honest.
Yeah, and it's the other thing that got me. So many people told him to wash his face because he had the cuts on it. It took him ages to clean up.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, you're trying to be undercover, but you're walking around with a bloody face, and everyone's just like, sort it out. He's like, oh, I fell. And it's like, you didn't fall.
No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I found it difficult to root for Andor in his own series, which I didn't really jar with too well.
No, that will change as it goes on for very good reasons.
He needed K2SO. It's the Mighty Boosh theory, man. This might be relatively controversial. It's my opinion. Mighty Boosh, I think Julian Barrett's really funny, and Noel Fielding isn't funny. And Noel Fielding needs Julian Barrett to be good. When he's left on his own, he's not great. No. You take out Andor and K2SO. Andor's great when he's got K2SO.
Yeah.
when without K2S. So right now, I'm finding him a really unlikable,
and
general scumbag.
That will change, and for good reason. And that's why I'm actually interested in seeing it completely from the outside, because I know you've only watched those first 3.
Yeah, I've only watched them once as well. But the supporting characters, man, around him, like Marv's great, the droid's great.
Marva is awesome. I can't remember the actress's name, but she's Aunt Petunia from Harry Potter. She's been around for decades. She is fantastic in it. And Marva, you will love even more by the time we get to the end of the show. But
she was like Blind Al in Deadpool.
Yeah, very much so. But on that point, though, obviously, we then have the flashbacks, and they've done a better job with this than they did in Boba Fett. That's for damn sure. But no, exactly. But here's the rub though. So I got very confused when I was watching it for the very first time, because I was like, have I missed a trick? Should I have subtitles on or whatever? They just don't do them, and you don't need to, because actually the more you watch, the more you know language is just a barrier, but you can tell what people are saying without knowing what they're saying. It's like you go to another country, you might not know what the right words are, but you can ask for a drink or for a telephone, or or directions. You know the little phrase you need, you know kind of how to point and kind of how to word things out to a point that someone can kind of understand what you're saying, even if they don't understand the language at all. And with this, you see it. You see it, for example, the little girl who's jumping up and down when she sees the ship coming down. The other one tells her off. You don't need to hear what she's saying to know that she's going, stop it. You don't want them to see us. We're interested in what the hell they are, but they can't see us, because if they see us, they'll kill us. It's that vibe.
Was it a separatist ship?
Republic.
Because when the guys bailed out of it, when you saw their uniforms,
it was separatist. Yes, separatist, because they're talking about the Republic coming afterwards. Yeah, so it's.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
but it's like that Christopher Lloyd bit in Mandalorian, was like Dooku was taken out of his prime. I like when we're seeing separatists now, like still being around in the galaxy.
Yeah, but it says my favorite bit about that, for the most part, is actually it tells you the time without telling you the time.
Yeah,
it just sets, you know exactly what era it is, but you don't need to know any more than that. You just know, oh, it's Clone Wars era. So you kind of, in your mentality, you know roughly how long it is. You know, you can work things out. It's all you need. You don't need a huge amount. When Marva says, "Oh, the Republic are going to be here," and knocks him out, it's like, I'm not going to leave him here to die. You go, what the hell's going to happen here? It's a very.
I'm enjoying the Republic thing, but they're not calling the Empire or anything. They're still calling the Republic. I'm liking that. I don't know why I like that so much.
Because it shows.
Really like it.
Yeah, because it shows the galaxy is still kind of getting used to the whole idea in a way. And it's only been 15 years since episode 3.
Is it that they're getting used to the idea? Or is it a case of, on street level, they obviously don't know about Palpatine and Vader and everything that we do, and they know about the clones because they were everywhere.
Yeah.
Do they think stormtroopers are clones, and actually the Empire is not the Empire to the normal street level citizen in Star Wars? That's not the Rebel Alliance or anything. It's
not
the Republic.
Gonna. Right. Here's the I can't say too much because of what you see later.
So they do kind of explain it.
Yes, and it is in a very dark way how they explain it.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, I'm down with it. I dig it. I think at the moment I'm just really enjoying what they're calling the Republic. I like as if, because it really zoomed out for me. I think that moment, and it's one of the things I really liked about Andor, was from what we've seen at the Star Wars, so much has been under a telescope. And this is zoomed out, and the fact they're going, it's the Republic, goes, oh yeah, they're not going to know about Palpatine and everything we've seen.
Yeah, well, they know that the Empire, and they know about the Imperial entanglement, they know about the boot, but the boot hasn't made its way there yet at this point. That's basically what it is they know the Empire, they know what the Empire is, but the Empire and the Republic at this point are still rather similar.
No, the same thing, yeah.
It's the same thing, whereas because the boot of oppression hasn't yet landed properly. This is the first. And that's why they don't like Cassian in these first 3 episodes, because he's brought that boot of oppression to them. And it's finally they're going to see the heel. They're going to see okay, you've brought too much attention to it. Now we're going to sort this out. You have made yourself a mess.
I'd like some small things that aren't set in the Outer Rim. because I'm kind of getting a bit like, oh, they're in the outer rim. I'm like, because everything happens in the outer rim. Can we get something in the inner rim? That would be lovely.
Yeah, the outer
I don't really
rim...
want to be talking about rims on a YouTube live either.
I mean, yeah, but you have the core worlds though. Obviously, Coruscant being the capital of both the Empire and the Republic. Not the New Republic, obviously. That was the Hosnian Prime and the Hosnian system. Originally Chandrila as well, which I kind of like. Is the fact that once the Rebel Alliance won, Mon Mothma took over, and Chandrila became the head of the Republic, as they were still sorting out Coruscant. Yeah. And Mon Mothma as well. Fantastic character as well. And you will see her more as the series goes on. Mon Mothma
is it the same woman who's in Rogue One?
Genevieve O'Reilly? Yes.
Because that was expert level casting. So that was incredible.
Yeah, she's one of the best parts of Andor. And you will get to her.
Absolutely blowing. The casting on her in Rogue One
is phenomenal. And there's going to be a character coming up. You already know the fact that Andy Serkis is in this show. You don't know who he plays or what he does, but he is one of the best characters and has the most heartbreaking line probably in all of Star Wars in a way. And
he's great in everything.
Just you wait. But these first 3 episodes though set up the story. You meet Luthen, who is obviously by the end of it, you don't know much about him. You know he's the buyer. You know he comes in and he goes, "I know a lot about you. I've got a lot of money, but why don't instead you just come with me?"
That gunfight was sick.
Yeah.
With all the bits falling from the ceiling and stuff. I was like, this is a very entertaining gunfight. Luthen almost reminded me a lot of Woody Harrelson in Solo.
Yes.
Beckett? Tobias Beckett?
Yeah, Tobias Beckett.
Not in like a cavalier way, like the way he kind of moved and stuff and spoke when Beckett's pretending to be an officer.
Yeah. Or
a lieutenant. Yeah, kind of gave me the same sort of vibe. I really liked Luthen. I thought he was great, and he was like, just leave the Empire box. That's irrelevant. Like, that doesn't matter. Just ignore it. Get out of here. I like that. He was fun. I hope we see more of him. He was very good. He has some good lines. Skarsgård was wonderful anyway.
Skarsgård is wonderful, and you'll see this more as the show goes on. But the first 3 episodes, obviously, this is your setup. This is your re-meeting in terms of Andor, the character. But you're meeting a lot of characters for the first time. It's kind of setting up the tone of the universe. And going into this show, and Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars films ever. It is a fantastic film. Sets up.
It goes back into that theme, doesn't it, Phil? It's like Star Wars is at its best without Jedi in. Rogue One's incredible, and then you get the Vader hallway scene, which is excellent, but the nuts and bolts of the story.
I can't agree wholeheartedly because of my love for the Jedi. But yes.
I know, man. I enjoy Star Wars more when there's not Jedi, because Jedi kind of feel like not plot armor, but it's like, how do we get out of this? It's easily fixed. He's got the Force and a lightsaber. We'll be fine. Not that it always happens that way. It's why Empire Strikes Back is one of the greatest films ever, because it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I think personally I enjoy Star Wars more when there aren't Jedi rampaging around everywhere, because it feels like an easy way out of things.
Yeah. But each person gets their own kind of view out of it in terms of what they like and what they don't. But you're going to love this show for that reason, though, because there is no Jedi, there is no scapegoat, there is just human.
That's what makes Vader scarier in Rogue One. Is there are no Jedi; they're just normal dudes, and then he annihilates a corridor full of fleet troopers, and you're like, oh. He's scary.
Yep. It's the Vader I've always wanted to see. And then you get Kenobi Vader, which is just...
Oh my God.
We'll get onto that when we get to that, though, because there's so much to dissect with that one, because my God, do I love Vader in that show. But this is the Empire, and this is the human, on a human level, where they still have aliens. What I love is the one that they just said, you're basically just here to be muscle.
What's his name? It wasn't Van. It was Vannon or something, wasn't it? The massive dude. It's just like, why are you hanging around with him? Oh, he said he'd pay me.
Stand here. And at the end of it, he goes, what? It's just like,
you just stand there. I was just like, yeah, he was fun. A really good costume as well of it.
Yeah. But even with aliens and droids and everything, it's a human story at the heart of it. And you have someone basically who is a bit of an arse, takes advantage of people's kindness, owes a lot of money, but there's something more to it. And that something is what Stellan sees.
Take it out of there, dude. It's just like, oh, and then this mysterious stranger is going to whisk me away. Which is annoying. I didn't like the Bix and Tim death. That was really sad. When she's like chained up to the wall and can't reach him, and then when they eventually break her out, they run away. I was like, that's really sad because Bix was kind of fun. I liked her. Yeah. She was cool. She was just tolerating Andor enough, didn't she? Really, it's like, I'm going to tolerate you to help you, but you're being a bit of an arse about things. But yeah, so far I am enjoying Andor. There's just the two glaring things for me of Cyril's arc doesn't make a lot of sense with how he was portrayed yet. Well, exactly. It's what I mean, and we said this about Mando season 3 when you were just like, "Oh, I'm not really a massive fan of it," or that episode, the Jack Black Lizzo one. Yeah. But then when you see it all in context together by the end, you're like, "Oh, you're really strong people."
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is that same kind of vibe by the time you get to it. What I like though is very much by the end of it, yeah, he does get away. But man, is he left a mess and some consequences.
I like the speeder escape as well. I thought that was really cool. The car just kind of drives itself and they blow it up. And that was fun. That's good.
You also get the first actual English or basic swear in Star Wars was shit.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Yeah.
You don't expect it.
It fitted so well. It was so natural that I didn't even really clock that someone swore. It just fit so well in the scene. It wasn't like, oh my god, it's the first Star Wars swear.
I have Scottish friends. I mean it all due respect, but it is because he's Scottish that it makes sense for him to swear in that regard.
Yeah, but I was like, that would be my reaction. The Space Police were really fun because they could have just made them stormtroopers. Yeah,
but you don't. Stormtroopers are kind of that level though, and you get that as you go, and you need to see the Empire stretched thin to be able to believe it can be cracked, but also you need the Stormtroopers to have fear factor, because Stormtroopers
you see it everywhere, man. Like even in Solo when he's escaping, and there's the patrol troopers and stuff. Yeah, so it's nice to see some level of authority in the universe that wasn't what we've seen already, and of course they have localized police forces.
They do,
but I've never thought about them having localized. It makes sense when you actually stop to think about it, but for the past 29 years I've been like, it's stormtroopers everywhere, because everywhere we go there's been stormtroopers, so it's clearly stormtroopers everywhere. Even like in Jeddah in Rogue One there's just stormtroopers walking down the street, so to see a local authority that was really refreshing. I'm sure I will see troopers and stuff at some point. That's fine.
Yeah, you will. And it brings me on nicely to my favorite part of the episode, which is, so by the point you've met the characters, you know what's going on. They manhandle Marva, which is brutal in itself. They're literally just taking advantage of a woman because they got a search warrant. Cyril is doing his full-on investigation at this point. They obviously shut her up as B2 gets the communication. They head out, and she's being left alone with the guard. And I love the fact that when they start rattling and they start hammering away, as the people are going, this is our planet. What the hell do you think you're doing? And she's just sat there very calmly and goes, gets to you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's just, it builds. What's worse is when it stops.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just she is playing it so well and she knows what she's doing. And Marva, as that's why she's probably one of the best characters in the show, because you see her, who's someone who goes, okay, the world's gone wrong. What the hell's Cassian done? Which the whole point is this show is like, what the hell's Cassian done now? But it's he's finally done something.
In an endearing way, like Tony Stark. Yeah. Not in a Tony No kind of endearing way, in a, Cassian just feels like an irresponsible adult. Yeah. But you're right, that bit with the pipes and stuff, when she's like, you want to be worried when it stops.
Yeah.
And then when the silence hits, and it's incredible. Yeah. The cinematography on that was absolutely mind-blowing. I do want to talk about the alarm clock man, who got really into his job.
Yep.
I found him every time he was on screen. I found him really entertaining because he was like stretching, and you watch the faces he pulls, and every time I was like, wow, the alarm clock man's really intense.
It's like you can't imagine like the armorer doing that, can you? And it's
No,
that same.
The actor, I'm telling you, he understood the assignment, right? That actor got told you're going to be in Star Wars, and he ran with it. Like, he just understood. He just got it.
He understood the assignment entirely. And
you're going to be in Star Wars, but you're going to be like this human alarm clock. And he gave it his all. He was entertaining every time he was on screen. Because, like, you watch the faces he's pulling, and he's clearly hitting like a bit of foam with a couple of foam hammers, but he's into it, man.
He's selling it. He's like, this is really heavy. This is better.
You're heavy, and I am mad. Everyone wake up. You're right, and he does that thing, doesn't he? He's like woosters and zens into the top. Yeah. He really gave it his all.
It's like if you told Thor, you need to wake people up. Here, use Mjolnir to hit this. It's that vibe of just like, I was told to wake people up. That's just his mentality is, I'm doing my job. My job is awesome. Right, you lot, time to wake up. And then it's a case of...
He can do the intro for Hot for Teacher.
Yeah. And then though you get the wonderfulness where they go, everything's going off. They've landed here. Let's just tether their ship up so that if they take off, oh look, they crash. And all you hear in the background though is just the explosion, and it's just the fear. Because they've put the fear into the authority, which is then why you get the Empire escalation. Because this is local authority, this is just a beat cop. You haven't got the Gestapo on your doorstep yet. But if you make noise, you're going to have them come down. You're going to have a rain of fire. And Cassian has brought all this to his world. He's brought all this to Ferrix.
The police spaceship looked a bit weird. The big triangle.
Yeah, because it's a mix between a Republic gunship and Imperial gunship.
It looks really familiar to something I've seen before that's not Star Wars, and I can't work out what it is. It does look like a pyramid or something, because clearly it's...
Oh, yeah, the actual, like...
Yeah, I just saw it in hyperspace and just thought it looked really silly.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. If
they had like a Lambda shuttle, that would make a lot of sense. I would have been like, oh, they have a Lambda shuttle.
The dropship is the halfway house between a Lambda, the Marauder...
Why couldn't they have flown in the dropship? It doesn't look like they went that far. They could have gone on the dropship. I just thought the big triangle thing was weird, and I don't know what it reminds me of, and it's going to annoy me.
It's a floating pyramid, which I like my floating pyramids. I mean, I like Stargate, but this isn't Stargate. This is Star Wars. There's a difference.
Yeah, when it's in hyperdrive, it's just like that wouldn't be aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form, and I don't think it would structurally hold going at the speed of light.
Yeah,
it just felt very strange to me. I wasn't a big fan. I usually like the ship designs and the things they do, like the Razor Crest and everything. I like most of the ships.
Don't forget though, this isn't like a Star Destroyer. This is just local enforcement. They don't have the budget. They're not supposed to be. Although they are assigned by the Empire, they're not the Empire. They don't have like, here's a light cruiser. They're not Moff Gideon having like that light cruiser effect, which would be more terrifying. But they don't have they're just a local law enforcement. So they're given if you compare it, for example, police forces around the world, like over here we have like Astra diesels, and in Dubai you have supercars. It's that level of, well, look, you're still just a cop, but you get the budget car. Here you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like they weren't that far away.
Yeah.
So they didn't need like a hyperspace ship, because it's not a massive
jump. Yeah, it's a short jump. It's not a massive jump. It's a short jump from for their territory. It's kind of,
and even the junkers in Kenobi, dude, when they go to the Citadel and they get the T5, the snow speeders, and go and raid like the hangar on the Citadel, and get back into that junker ship, flown by Ice Cube's son. Ice Cube's son, who saves them.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. Yeah,
that's the one. I just felt like they could have had like a junker ship, because I don't know. I felt the ship design just felt really weird. It was new, and try exciting new things. That's cool. Yeah. But I feel in this galaxy where you've got things like the Razor Crest and various transport ships, and Corellian manufacturing was huge. They could have had a YT-2400.
Yeah.
If Han could be flying around in Falcon, surely this government-funded law enforcement agency could have had something. Slave One had a prison on it. I thought it was a bit weird, but whatever, it's fine. It was in there for a short bit. Again, I just thought it looked really strange. The Empire turning up. Cool.
So, spaceship and Tim rant aside, in terms of Dave's
if Tim flew the spaceship, it would be perfect. Triangle Tim. See? Anything beginning with a T so far hasn't been a brilliant idea in Andor.
All right. But that being said, you've now seen the first 3 episodes. You've met Luthen, you've met Andor in terms of re-met Andor. You know a bit about his backstory. You can't see where it's coming from. You see the world for what it is. Going forward from this, you're going to find out what Luthen wants with Andor. That's what we're setting up.
I feel like he's going to be like, come and join my spy corps. He's that kind of character. He feels like the mentor that Andor needs to be who he is in Rogue One. I could be wrong. I don't know. I just feel like he's like a mentor type character.
Indeed.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah. So I will send you specific episodes in terms of for next week in terms of the arc to watch, because it is a fantastic and a lot to break, a lot to look forward to. But these are the first 3 episodes. This is the first time you and I have then sat down and discussed something on air. We say we talked about a lot of things. We've got more to come. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how those next few arcs play out, because one of them especially, I'm very much looking forward to seeing your thoughts on. Okay. You've had the first 3. You're now introduced to it all. Obviously, we know your likes, dislikes from the episode itself. We know there is, so that's 3. You've got 9 more to go at this point. What do you want to see out of the rest of the show?
Really surprised it's a 12-episode series, by the way. I was very shocked. I thought it was going to be a 6-episode one. So when I looked and saw it was 12, I was very surprised. What do I want? I want K2SO. I'd like K2SO. I feel like I want to see the transition. Let me get my words right. What do I want to see from Andor? That's a really good question. I want to see backstory that makes it so if I go forward and rewatch Rogue One, he's not really boring. Get some life and some background in the character, and if something can make me not like that he dies, I'll be happy. And I want some. At the moment, I don't care that he dies. I still don't care that he dies. I didn't care he dies after Rogue One, so I was like, oh, I met this guy 90 minutes ago, and now he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh well, don't get attached. I was sadder about Chirrut and Baze.
Yeah.
Because they were amazing.
And K2.
Oh god. K2 death was heartbreaking.
Climb.
I'd like K2SO, that would be fun. More street level kind of Star Wars would be great. I want to see how normal people deal with stormtroopers. And I want to see stormtroopers be scary.
Yeah.
Not mixing everything with their lasers and knocking their heads into doors and genuinely falling off of things and screaming. I'd like to see stormtroopers be quite intimidating. Yeah. Because I
think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what's to come. I genuinely do, especially with certain points.
Just give me something that makes me care about Andor's sacrifice in Rogue One. Ultimately, because this is... We're not going to go past Rogue One. we know what happened, so give me something that makes me care about the character, because right now I don't. And I think the best character so far has been the Inspector in the first episode. It's just like, this is exactly what happened. Leave it alone. I've got to go to a meeting. And he's been my favourite character so far.
Marva was definitely mine out the first 3. And you'll get more of that going on. So where the show ends up, I know, is a few hours before Rogue One, effectively, like the start of Rogue One. So that's basically where you
season 1.
Yeah, that's not
season 1 ends before Rogue. Season 2. Yeah,
season 2. Yes, the entire show will end a few hours before Rogue One. So I'm looking forward to seeing, obviously, for season 2 where that goes. But for season 1, for the next episode, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. I think you're going to enjoy. There's certain bits I know you're going to enjoy. I can't say too much just yet, but there's certain bits you're going to enjoy. And I want to spoil it because actually I want to see your genuine reaction to parts of it. So I'm not going to say too much. But this is going to be the interesting part. So when it comes down to the retrospectives, when it's something that I've seen or something we've seen, this is how we'll go about doing the show. When it comes to new things, obviously, we'll sit and we'll just digest it as we've seen it. And we'll kind of have honest thoughts about what we've seen, what we think is going to come up. We'll see where it all goes. When we do the retrospectives, this is kind of what you're going to get. It's us messing around, but also talking about the bits that you don't necessarily get to talk about first time round. So there's bits that I can look back and go, well, actually, you've brought this up. I hadn't seen it in this light before, and I've seen this 4 or 5 times. I can go, actually, this bit here doesn't actually, you've brought something new to the table. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we're going to go going forward. So I will definitely be interested for the next few episodes.
It would have made sense on Cyril. If they made it clear, like from the off, like if his boss had turned around to him and gone, now I know you're keen for this promotion, but there's ways to go around it, that would suddenly instigate why he goes and does it.
Yeah. Well,
if it's just like, I know you want this promotion, and then if he's doing it to get promoted, I'd be like, I understand exactly what he's doing and why. Because there's a promotion and he wants to move up in the thing. He's got himself, he's got himself all tidied up and got his suit tailored because he wants to advance. He wants to be deputy inspector up to an inspector. And that would be like, I'm going to go get this big collar to get my promotion. It's gone wrong. And that would be, for me, an arc of he's fallen on his own sword.
Yeah. Well,
he flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, he is a little bit Icarus in this, apart from told much better because, God, the Eternals is awful.
Why did you go to like Greek mythology with the Eternals?
You talk about flying too close to the sun for Icarus? It made sense.
Iron Maiden didn't sing about the Eternals.
No. Flying Icarus is one of the best songs of it. To be fair, though, cracking album anyway. But
so you bought the Maiden reference, son.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I wholeheartedly appreciate that. But yeah, so next week we're gonna look at the next 3 episodes.
So we do another 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah,
4, 5, and 6. Yep. And
I'm gonna watch the wrong 4, 5, and 6 and just come on there, so you'd be like, "Empire Strikes Back is amazing."
yeah, no shit. Not
no, you didn't say to watch Andor 4, 5, and 6. You just said 4, 5, and 6. Oh no, I now will openly admit that I like Ewoks. So
Ewoks are cool. But let me just double check my bearings on this because again, my 5th time watching it, I've kind of just able to blur into the entire story.
It does do that. When I rewatched Kenobi a couple of weeks ago,
yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you about Kenobi properly, but when I rewatched that, it didn't necessarily blur into one, but I was just amazed by how long it takes things to happen. I was like, oh my God, he doesn't ignite his saber for like 4 episodes, and that's amazing.
Yeah, 4, 5. So yes, it's 4, 5, 6. So 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I thought so. So 4, 5, and 6 is bloody interesting, and it's got again one of the most beautifully shot moments in Star Wars. There's going to be a lot of points you're going to like, and I'm very interested and very excited to talk to you about it. But that's what we're going to cover. That's what we're going to cover next week, though. I'm very interested.
That's my homework. Ironically, I'm probably going to finish this and start on Rebels or Bad Batch. Maybe Bad Batch. Anyway, yeah, I will watch them. Touch base on them, see what's going on.
Indeed. Well, Rebels, I mean, to be fair, Bad Batch as well. So Bad Batch Season 3 is out next year. It's the final season. So that's going to be one we will obviously get to and talk about. And Rebels, I mean, we've got Ahsoka coming up. So again, we're going to talk about that. So Matt's just not here talking about, he's just going to watch them because he wants to, because he does. But also we've got bits coming up we want to talk about. And Ahsoka is something we are both very heavily interested in watching. And to make it make sense, you're going to need to watch Rebels.
What I did watch on Disney Plus, I was cruising the Star Wars section, as I do.
Yep.
And there's the fly rounds with the vehicles. 3-minute long videos. There's a 3-minute long video where they're flying a drone around the big Millennium Falcon in Disneyland. That's really cool. So just generally, it was like a 3-minute video of like this drone going through the Falcon and around it and stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a nice little addition on that.
Indeed. I mean, to be fair, it's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, yeah. So next week we'll talk about episodes 4, 5, and 6. We're back same time, Thursday at 8:00. Very interested to see what we're gonna Yeah, I can't wait to see a reaction to that one. But yes, you'll probably never start watching Rebels. But if I start getting excited messages, at least I know why.
Because I'm watching Rebels. I'm just, got punch, get through all the
same. When you do watch Rebels, though, same thing as Clone Wars. The first half of season 1 is very kidsy.
Yeah.
After that, trust me, it picks up. Like it just gets better and better and better.
That'll be the push for it to get through the kiddiness. But
yeah,
Clone Wars has some glorious things in it. I thoroughly enjoy Clone Wars.
I mean, you've got to get past season 1 to get to Hondo, so it's worth it for Hondo.
Just that bit of The Simpsons where Homer puts all the photos up and do it for her. I feel like I need to put something somewhere in the page just do it for Hondo.
Yep.
I myself every morning. I've got my picture of Dave Grohl on the wall next to it. I'll get a picture of Hondo.
Yeah. Do it for Hondo.
Do it for Hondo. Do it for profit.
To be fair, I'm going to be running with a group of X-Wing mates a Star Wars RPG. It's based on 5e for D&D. I have been working on an NPC who's going to be based on Hondo.
Apparently, Edge of Empire is a fantastic RPG system.
I have heard.
But amazing things about Edge of Empire. Obviously, if your D&D 5e is what you got, then do it. Like, why not? But I've heard of Edge of Empire.
It's because I'm DMing it, and I know the mechanics a lot better for 5e, so I can just take this adaptation and go, cool, this is the bare bones. I know what the adaptation is. I'm very much looking forward to kind of, because I've got to write it all as well. I'm like, okay, let's just, at least for the mechanics wise, do something I know, and then I can just kind of build the story up.
Just homebrew bits of it, you'll be fine.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of that. But we won't be covering that. What we're going to cover next Thursday is 4, 5, and 6. So join us at the same time, Thursday, 8 o'clock. Very much looking forward to it all. We shall see you all. Indeed. So we shall see you all then. Have a good rest of the evening, people.
Goodbye.
Good start.